Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today, the Wall Street Journal ran a major piece warning that the Colorado River system is on the brink of disaster. The article points to a system under extreme stress, a river serving roughly 40 million people and more than 5 million acres of farmland, as well as hydroelectric power for millions. It notes that Lake Mead, Lake Powell, the two largest reservoirs in the basin, have fallen dramatically from their peak volumes. Now, there's no question the Colorado River is in crisis, but framing the story matters. When we hear 40 million people, the mental image is subdivisions, swimming pools, lawns, golf courses, and new housing developments. That framing conveniently feeds the anti-development narrative. It suggests that growth itself is the problem. The arithmetic tells a completely different story. A peer-reviewed 2024 survey in the publication called Communications, Earth, and Environment found that irrigated agriculture is responsible for 74% of direct human use of the Colorado River and 52% of the total water consumption, once you include reservoir evaporation and riparian losses. The same study found that agriculture consumes 3 times as much water as all the municipal, commercial, and industrial uses combined. Doesn't mean the cities are innocent, does not mean development should ignore water. It means lawns in Phoenix and Las Vegas make no sense. It means that if we're serious about solving the problem, we need to look at where the water actually goes. And most of it goes to agriculture. But more specifically, very large share goes to feed crops, including alfalfa and grass hay. That same study found that cattle crops feed about 32% of all the Colorado River Basin water consumption, and 46% of all direct water consumption, and 62% of the overall agricultural water consumptions. Now, this is where the conversation gets uncomfortable because farmers are not the villains. Farmers respond to rules, prices, rights, subsidies, and incentives as they exist. In many cases, they're operating under a water rights system designed more than a century ago when policymakers overestimated the river supply and underestimated the scale of future demand. So the issue is not whether the farmers are bad, they're not. The issue is whether the system is economically rational in a world where water supply has changed. The second piece of the puzzle is irrigation technology. A 2024 analysis of the Colorado River Basin showed that flood irrigation remains the dominant use across the entire basin. And flood irrigation is used on roughly 61 to 69% of the irrigated acreage, depending on the region. Flood irrigation is the oldest and most inefficient method of applying water. You open a gate and you let water flood the field. It's simple, it's low tech, and in some areas it has worked for generations. But from a field level of application standpoint, it is way less efficient than sprinklers, booms, or drip systems. The Colorado State Agricultural Water Conservation Work notes that farms using flood irrigation are only about 50% efficient, where sprinkler and drip irrigation systems can be 80 to 90% efficient. It's even there not quite that simple. When flood irrigation appears to waste water, not all of that water disappears. Some returns to streams and aquifers and becomes available downstream. That's what's called return flow. Now, the Colorado State Report makes it clear that what looks like waste at the field level might still be reusable elsewhere in the basin, but it's very difficult to model. So converting every flood irrigated acre to drip or boom systems doesn't automatically save the river gallon for gallon. Now, in some cases, higher efficiency can reduce return flows and even increase consumption if farmers grow more crop with the same waters. So this is why the policy, the management, needs to focus on consumptive use, not just diversions. Now, this is where real estate investors should pay attention. Water scarcity is not just an environmental issue. It's a constraint on growth. It's a constraint on valuation, and eventually a credit issue. A municipality with unreliable long-term water supply will face higher costs, tighter permitting, political opposition, and infrastructure stress. And that will affect land values, it'll affect housing production, industrial development, and municipal finances. But blaming new development while ignoring the dominant water use is not policy, it's just theatrics. The better answer is a disciplined water accounting system, voluntary compensated reductions, crop switching where the economics support it, modernizing the irrigation where it produces real savings in consumption, improvements in canals, better management, better measurement. All of these things can better manage a scarce resource without destroying the rural communities. Now, that last point matters. We should not solve an urban problem by bankrupting farmers, but we should not freeze the entire Southwest in order to preserve an inefficient use of water that was created under outdated assumptions. Development should be water aware and agriculture should be water accountable. Cities need to price water honestly and the public debate needs to be grounded in facts, not just slogans. Yes, the Colorado River is in real crisis. If the solution starts and ends with stop building homes, then we're not solving the crisis. We're simply avoiding the largest part of the water budget. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.